Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome to episode 65. Chris and Jacob are back with me today. And Chris, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Woodford Reserve Wheat.
Wheat. All right. Yeah, I figured since we're on a Woodford
kick.
Yeah, we had the rye recently, and we've had Jacob brought on the double oaked, which was really good, and we've had the regular one. Obviously, the regular one and the double oaked are one of our favorites. So we're gonna try this wheat one.
I think
see if it's any good.
Anything with the name Woodford is our favorite.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll see. Pop it or open, and yeah. So obviously with this one, the mash bill is dominantly grain, so 52% malt. You got about 20%, 20% corn, and 8% rye. 90.4 proof. All right, so on the nose, before we see what we're supposed to get, what are you guys getting?
It's sweet.
Ooh.
I almost get like a molasses.
Molasses?
Do I want to say that? Little hints of vanilla.
I feel like it's going to be sweet up front with a little spice on the back end.
Yeah.
Just off of smelling it. It's like when you finally like stop smelling, then I get spice.
Aromatic spiced cinnamon and cedar. Cooked fruit, apple, pear, banana, mingled with a delicate floral character, sweetened with light vanilla bean and brown sugar notes. I'm getting a vanilla. I'm not getting any cinnamon.
I'm not getting any cinnamon. I'm not getting any apple.
It doesn't smell fruity at all. I can kind of get the vanilla, but
Yeah, that's all I'm smelling is vanilla.
I don't know if it's going to be applesaucey. We'll see.
Yeah, the taste is supposed to be spicy applesauce and toasted coconut, enlivened an earthy mint and cocoa nib mix.
Ooh.
I was kind of hoping we'd get more of the toasted coconut.
I'm getting a wood taste up front.
Yeah.
More than anything. More than most whiskeys I've tried for sure.
Well, yeah, because it's called Woodford.
Yeah. And it tastes like a Ford on the back end.
Yep. Dry finish, subtle coconut, and lingering apple peel. I'm not getting the apple peel at all.
No, and the spice isn't there like I thought it would be.
I get a little bit of an apple taste.
And I'm not.
But it's not real dominant. Like
I wonder if that'll change on ice.
But you do get a lot of heat on the back end.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting any coconut. Or not coconut, but like cocoa. I mean, I see a hint of the coconut. Like a hint. If you let it sit on your tongue for a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a hint of coconut there. Which I like coconut.
It's probably one of the most different tasting up front.
And for those of you that don't know, in that corner right there, move it. Let me move it over. Who's that being hidden? Oh, look, who's back. The other guy that is actually on the thumbnail picture.
What's up, guys? They're talking about all these different flavors, and
here, let me get you that microphone right there.
Oh, we're
Didn't you
tasting
bring up a cup?
this, we're tasting that. I'll be the judge of that.
Yep, get you a little taste of it. What are you thinking there, Hunter?
It's good, but I will say I think I've preferred all of the other Woodfords more
than that one. Yeah.
I'm getting the banana.
Are you?
But maybe it's because mine's right over ice right off the bat, you know?
I feel like ice brings out a lot more of like the sweeter flavors.
Let's hook it up with some ice then.
Yeah.
See what happens.
It is definitely, as Jacob said, wood forward. Wood forward right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Take one down, pass it around.
I think I can get the cinnamon off of it too.
Really? That was one flavor I wasn't getting too, is the cinnamon. Oh, dog hair is going to be all over that one. That one is Hunter's.
5 seconds. Come on, bro.
I fucked it up.
Not so much of the apple, and I don't know because I didn't try it eat, but definitely cinnamon and like oak, and I get that molassesy flavor you were talking about.
Yeah, a little bit of that. You know, for somebody that's sitting over in the corner, you should be doing a camera switching or little production stuff, right?
I'm just lucky to be here.
The wife let him out of the cage. While we let that sit on the rocks, Chris also has the gun of the week.
Yeah.
Going off of our story from the Glockators podcast and what happened to his gun while he was trying to update it.
So we have a Glock 19. And
Oh, Glocks are terrible.
I hate them. They're terrible.
They're
They're
ugly.
ugly. Yeah. So this is my Glock 19. It's fixed now. Yay. So it's got the Alpha Timney trigger,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. So installing it the first time, I accidentally broke the slide release. So I had to replace that. And since I was already there, I was like, might as well just put in a lighter connecting rod. So I did.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. And it's a lot nicer now. And I also been watching a bunch of Glock YouTube where they like polish everything up. So since it was already apart, I polished everything I could.
What's that switch on the back there?
What switch?
Is that the Glock switch, Chris?
No. But you can't get it on eBay, guys.
Yeah, do what you will with that.
Yeah. So
We do not recommend.
it's a lot nicer now. I like it a lot. I'm not
Awesome.
a hater anymore.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be the judge of it though when I go shoot it. That'll
Yep.
be the real test.
Mm-hmm. And I bought a Glock Gen 3 to take out and test compared to that and the dagger as well.
We can
So,
bring my Gen 5 too.
yeah. We definitely need to get the
'cause
range.
it's a different trigger.
Some videos.
Definitely a range day then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Glock I got, I kind of like, instead of the flat, I was torn between the flat, dark earth or the two-tone. So I have a gray slide, silver-ish gray slide, and a black frame. I like the contrast on that. And because I also just bought a full flat dark earth MMP 9 2.0 compact.
Yeah.
So that's all the
Jerk.
same size. That falls in the same size category as
Yeah.
the 19, the dagger.
Yep.
What is both of your opinions on concealed carrying with an RMR? Would you want to do it?
I haven't shot a gun with an RMR, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it takes some training too. Like it's definitely
Yeah.
some getting used to. Let's say you were used to it. Not, the concern isn't how is the RMR. To me, it's I feel like there's just more stuff to fail and
I'd be leery if you
snag.
like hit it just right and something
Yeah,
it
or
off
it-
makes everything off.
Yeah,
That's
that's
my
what
biggest
worries me
worry.
because I have the RMR cut on mine, but I've been hesitant to because I carry it regularly, and that's what holds me back from doing it. But I've also seen that if you had one hand injured, you can rack
Yeah.
the slide off your RMR.
Hmm.
I feel like you'd want probably like a $500 like Trijicon
Yeah.
RMR
For
or
an
Loopold.
ignorant-
Something.
For an ignorant person, what is RMR?
A rear mount reticle, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a red dot, basically. It's a red dot for your pistol.
And it's
Yeah.
they got a cut on the slide, so like right in here they'd have a special cut or groove, and then some of them they actually make it for the brand that you want to run, or they got like universal ones you can
And
do.
The Gen 5 mine came with 4 or 5 plates
Yeah,
for different stuff.
yeah.
So,
I
but I
would-
have that Vortex I bought for the BCM, like I was talking about, and I could throw it on the Glock just to see, but I just don't know that I would want to carry it that way. Is what it's a lot of work to switch it over to not want to carry it that way.
Yeah, I'd have to
So-
buy another slide, so I was like,
Yeah,
maybe I'd just buy a dagger at that point.
Yeah.
and just
or just a
swap
dagger
'em.
slide. You
Yeah.
can always throw it on there when you want
Well, it's
to.
cheaper just to buy the gun.
Is it?
Just about. Yeah, it's like I think I was looking at their slides are like 150, $200.
Yeah.
Might as well spend the extra 100, 150 and get the whole gun.
I've been looking at the Rock 5.7, and yeah, it's about the same to build the gun as buy it, but you can get cooler looking barrels and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought about going that route. I really want that 5.7. I had him look up.
Yeah. Do
pricing
you
on that.
want to get that or no?
Yeah, well, I mean, after seeing your dealer pricing on the dagger, I was quite excited. And then you're like, yeah, it's going to save you like a transfer fee. Like, I'm like, well, that's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I do wanna get
screenshotted
it,
that
but-
so you could see. Like, I'm not lying. Like,
No,
this is,
I believe you. It
Yeah.
just, at that point, I don't know, for $600 either way, basically, I'd rather have the Canic,
Mhm.
which I think you still have, don't you? Or did you sell it?
No, I saw both of them.
You might not here before too long.
Hey, that's all right. Yeah, those are both great. I need to do some videos on those, and if you do buy one, then we can do a shooting
Yeah.
video on it, which would be nice.
Time to play.
Yep.
I was born ready.
All right, so we paused because I gave Hunter a microphone because you could see him in the background a little bit right there.
What up?
So, Mike, if he wants to chime in, we'll just give him a microphone so that way we can hear him. Yes. And then if you get in trouble for staying over too late, you could be like, look, honey, I was on the podcast. Like, I couldn't walk out.
Isn't that
What'd
a
you want?
wireless? No, it's plugged in. I thought it was wireless.
No.
He could take it with him.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
she went up to put Harlan to bed, and so I'm hoping she's just gonna get tired and fall asleep, and then I won't get a text here in about 10 minutes asking where I'm at. So
It's all good. All good.
For the podcast, Heath put in that new cell phone jammer.
Yep. Yep. I put everything on Do Not Disturb. So what do you think of it on the rocks?
It changes a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
And you can
still
actually-
sweet on the back end.
Yeah, you can actually start smelling too. Like I was sniffing it a little bit, and you can start picking up other of those flavors and those notes now.
For sure.
did you catch the banana at all after it was on the rocks?
Yeah, I got that and the cinnamon more,
Hmm.
and now I'm actually tasting.
A lot less
Like a
woody
cinnamon.
flavor
Yeah.
too up front.
Yep. I still prefer the regular, but this isn't bad.
Yeah.
Would I buy this again? I don't know.
No, I wouldn't over the
Not
other
over
options at
regulars.
Woodford.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, fair enough. It was actually the same price as regular Woodford, $35.99 at where I found it. So
it's not bad.
no.
It's good in that price range for sure. All Woodford.
The
I
one
think, is
left,
good in
the
this
one we
range.
have left is the malt. Little hesitant to try that one, but
Yeah,
one of these days we'll try it.
that and Jack Daniel's malt if we can ever get our hands on it.
Yes, exactly.
Ah,
So this week we want to talk about there's been a lot going on in the gun news. If you've been kind of watching or paying attention, a lot of issues with credit card companies and the whole tracking gun sales thing. You have Biden, who just did an executive action, which we'll talk about. And another thing I've noticed happening a lot now are celebrities that are using their power and stardom to actually speak out against or for gun control, which pisses me off because
they don't know shit.
they don't know shit. They don't know what they're talking about. And I hate every night show host there is because they're all obviously anti-gun, super, left-wing Democrats, hate, like all their jokes are bashing Republicans and everything like that. It's like, okay, you can make fun of the Republicans, but also you got to make fun of your own
Yeah,
side too.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're being biased. And
There's a clear Hollywood bias.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like once you reach a certain level of fame and in that industry, it feels like people naturally go that way, which baffles me too. Cause like you'd think there'd be more Republicans once you start making money like that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't get the logic of like following their different tax codes and stuff too, but hey.
there are a few conservative actors out there, but they got to kind of watch what they say because
Oh yeah.
they get attacked all the time. Like Tim Allen gets
Yeah.
a lot of crap for his stuff. His shows that, the last show, Last Man Standing, got a lot of crap.
Yep.
It's like, God, come on. Unless you follow the politics of Hollywood, we're gonna.
Fuck Hollywood. That's all I got.
Chris Pratt for another one. He loves to hunt.
Yep.
He loves to do all that stuff, and
Yep.
he got kind of torn apart for that because he's like, yeah, I like to shoot, hunt my own food, and process it, and what's wrong with that? And he got torn apart for it. So
we should all just sit in recliners during this podcast because you look really comfortable right now.
oh my goodness, I'm on my iPad. and I
You're
don't
over
have
there
to-
in the dark, just on your iPad chilling. You look
Drink
super
some
comfortable.
whiskey.
Man.
Got
So-
it made.
What I did is there was one clip of Jon Stewart, who used to have a late night show, but now he does, I don't know, whatever the bullshit he's doing now. He was interviewing a Republican. They were talking about a bunch of different things, but then there was about an 8 to 9 minute segment where they were on gun control. Watching this made me laugh and kind of angry at the same time. Just the way he thinks anybody who likes guns, he says, I'm not against the Second Amendment, but every point that he makes and everything he talks about, clearly he is. And he makes it seem like he puts this Republican, I think it's a senator or something like that, in his place, but no, he just,
Looks like an idiot.
yeah. So what I'm going to do, I took 3 clips from that. We're going to watch and listen to it. Then we're going to talk about each one at a time and kind of dissect it and give our thoughts.
Cool.
So the first one, we'll go ahead and pull up.
I'm a strong proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the one right that's listed in the Constitution that uses that very specific affirmative language, shall not be
Oh, it's
infringed.
also the one right that uses the phrase well-regulated.
Correct, when it's talking about the militia and the state.
By the way, just for clarity's sake,
Yeah.
I'm not against the Second Amendment. I don't want to ban guns. But you're saying more guns makes us more safe.
Yes.
So when we got 400 million guns in the country, we had an increase and gun deaths went up. So when exactly does this curve hit that takes it down? Would 1 billion guns do it?
Let's just run those numbers, 400 million, 50,000. You're talking about less than a fraction of not even 1%, of 100th of a percent.
But it goes up, not down. So your argument is backwards.
But if you want, okay, so let's come up with a solution. Okay, so one of the issues, a contributing factor, again, I believe it's the individual that is the problem.
So your solution to that is give them more guns.
So I'm saying that because people are the problem, we need to look at the problems that those people are facing and how do we address it.
But you've removed the ability for the state to do that.
No, because you're...
If you don't have background checks and you don't have registration and permitting, how do you know who has a problem in terms of the people who you're giving a gun to?
Do you want to talk about the background checks first, or do you want to talk about solutions first?
I want to talk about what you're doing is you're bringing chaos to order.
That's your subjective opinion, that it's bringing chaos to order.
It's not my subjective opinion. We have 50,000 gun-related deaths. That's not a subjective opinion.
Okay, so
that's dead people.
Okay, so thoughts. And here's what I hate is you can never have a conversation with somebody
That's anti-gun.
that is anti-gun because they get so defensive and then they don't let you talk and then they try and talk over you and they try and make you twist things.
You could
notice
tell
that?
he's sitting there. He interrupts him with just bullet points that, like, in his mind he had before he sat down, and just keeps interrupting him with like these gotcha bullet points that he thinks like he's just nailing this guy. But he doesn't know the other side of the argument and won't even hear it.
No, that's it. It's my way or the highway kind of a thing with a lot of these people.
Correct. And if you've researched like what his side of the argument, I know the other side of that argument, but he won't let the other guy say it. But I know it in my mind how to combat like half of those arguments, what the other side of it is, but he won't let him even say that because it would make him look bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's not against the Second Amendment, but everything he said in that clip and the next two.
He's not against it, but why are you allowing someone to have chaos? Yeah, that's kind of like a double negative right there.
Well, and okay, so look at Austin.
Yeah.
They got, they did the whole police taking away money from the police department. Now look at that city now. It is chaos out there. And you have officers that are going to retire early because they don't want to deal with any of that stuff out there. So I don't know.
Well,
the
also,
thing that cracks me up too is like, I'm pretty sure he's at one point had some type of security. Or
for sure.
If he doesn't still have
not
security.
even at one point, for sure he's had security.
Yeah. So they shouldn't carry guns in for you.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You're going to bitch about it. Fucking don't have security then at all and see what happens. I guarantee you'll be a scared little bitch running and hiding the first time something happens. And you're going, I wish I had something. Well, you're a fucking idiot. Now you don't.
Well, they also love to not include the fact that they're totaling all gun deaths in America and that over 30,000 of those are suicides.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying that's not a problem, but you're telling me you're scared that you're going to commit suicide? Because that's the only way you're going to die in one of those, become one of that 30,000 number, is if you do it yourself. That's it. That's the only way.
That and like, there's more knife stabbings and things that have caused more.
Hammers kill more people in this country than guns. And also, what they don't ever talk about because it goes against the narrative is of all of those, I believe it's rifles, not even what they consider an assault rifle, not an AR-15 or AK, including hunting rifles and accidents. Less than 1% of those deaths is with rifles.
There's another fact or statistic that they like to bring up is gun deaths within like children, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you look at the statistic and the numbers that they're getting, that is, from basically a newborn to a 19-year-old. 18 to 19 is technically not a child. You're an adult, but
Yep.
they still count that towards the child statistic.
Yeah.
Well, and that drives the number up because, especially a lot of these shooters that you see are 18, 19, and that's where a lot of that is. I mean, yeah, you unfortunately have a lot of my kid got a hold of it because I didn't have it locked up, right? Situation that does happen, unfortunately, but a lot of the child gun deaths really aren't child. They're these 18 to
19-year-olds.
Yeah.
They just like to skew the numbers to where it looks terrible and benefits them and makes
It
everything
scares the
scary.
people. That's all they want to do. Put fear in you.
Yeah. All right, so we'll listen to this second clip here real quick.
You're also making it less safe for cops and for people. When the police go to a domestic call, it's the most dangerous call they can go on.
Mhm.
In your world, if they knew that there were firearms in the house, that's a safer call. Is that what you're saying?
No, because police.
Because why?
Because police treat every situation as a potential.
But more guns makes us safer. So why don't, when the police go to a house filled with guns, why don't they breathe a sigh of relief knowing that this Second Amendment that shall not be infringed is being exercised so fruitfully in this home?
Are you familiar with the 39-year-old woman in New Jersey?
I'm familiar with a ton of anecdotes.
Yeah.
I'm
No, this is
asking
not-
you a
this is-
simple
this
question.
is not an anecdote,
When
John.
the police
This actually happened.
go to a house,
She had a restraining order on her ex-boyfriend.
I
of an
can run
individual.
through
I know we can both run
hundreds
through
and
that.
hundreds of examples of women killed by their domestic partners by guns that were not taken away through the lessening of red flag laws. You're pivoting
But
to
the knives-
anecdotes.
No, this is not anecdotes.
What the police say, if we had gun registration, if we were able to track purchases, they have a technology that every bullet would be stamped with an individual like a fingerprint. If we had an ATF that wasn't defunded, we would be able to enforce gun laws more effectively, and we would be able to solve gun crimes more effectively. You're against all of that.
Because the person is the threat, not the firearm, not the knife.
I get it.
The person and the individual is the one that is the concern
Great,
here.
but you don't want anything that could help law enforcement or society determine whether or not a person is a good guy with a gun or a bad guy with a gun.
Most
The
even law
registry
enforcement.
would allow you to have much more effective background checks.
Mhm.
So I don't understand why you won't just admit that you are making it harder for police to manage the streets by allowing all of these guns to go out without permits, without checks, and without background stuff. Why is that hard? Why can't you just stand by that?
First of all, kudos to that guy for being able to keep his cool.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
reached over and just
Yeah, because
started knocking the shit out of the.
he like keeps his cool. Obviously, he's trying to explain something, and Jon Stewart just talks over him and won't let him finish. This guy just calmly sits there, and
He hasn't got to make a single point.
Nope.
no, he's drilling him about all this stuff. And I don't think, for whatever reason, this side does not see the fact that more gun control will not stop crime.
Here's my question
Criminals
too.
don't listen to or follow gun laws.
He kept saying the registry will have more backgrounds or background checks. How's a registry gonna have more background checks?
Or how would it improve a background
Yeah.
system? Registration isn't. It only is going to improve the ability
To know
for
what's
them,
out there.
Yeah, for them to come after them.
Yeah.
If the registry would only benefit if you through a background check found someone was a criminal and then you knew they had 3 other guns. That's the only benefit to that. But registration historically has only ever ended in confiscation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah. So I think his goal is, every gun has to be registered. You have to have all these ballistic things with your, ammo that you have. And that's not going to help the police because the people that are doing the crimes aren't registering their guns or going to. They're
Correct.
black market or, on the offhand, there might be somebody that legally buys it and then goes and commits a crime. But most of the people doing these crimes, you think gangs do background checks? Like, hey, Like, you think those guys that are getting initiated into a gang go get a background check before they go make their first kill or anything like that?
Probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they'd be okay. They would register that gun. They'd be like, all right, I would love you to have the ballistic information from this gun, so that way every person I shoot, you're gonna be able to trace back
But
to
it
me.
goes right back to what person would abide by a law that would be willing to commit murder. You're willing to break that law, but the other ones are going to stop them along the way.
Mhm.
It doesn't exist. Also, all of his points are kind of insignificant because they're talking about the Second Amendment, and the Second Amendment wasn't written to protect police. It wasn't written for you to protect yourself. It wasn't written for hunting. It was not for you to protect yourself. It was written for you to protect yourself from a tyrannical government. Period. Yeah. That's it. Not self-defense. It's not even about that. Like, it's great that we have the ability to use them in that way, but that's not what it was about at all. The amount of gun deaths you would see if we actually had a true tyrannical government try and come and confiscate our guns would make the numbers here insignificant. That would be hourly death tolls.
There would not even be a government at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that people would overthrow the government.
Oh, yeah.
But
only because we have guns.
Yeah. But as soon as they try to take them away, guess what? We're fucked. So.
Yeah, we say it every podcast, the gun control is only going to hurt us law-abiding citizens. This is not going to stop gun crime because we're not committing these crimes.
Yep.
The one, and that's what I like about what that politician said is it's not the gun, it's the person.
Yeah, I mean that gun's been sitting here for how long now? It hasn't jumped up and shot us yet, has it?
I don't know. It's starting to move a little bit. I'm scared. Like it's getting all wonky. Luckily, it's pointing over there towards Hunter and not us.
If it was a high point, I'd be more worried.
Right? No, that's just a paperweight at that point. Yeah, it's not the gun. It's not the vehicle. It's not the knife. It's not whatever. It's the person that does it. And there's a lot of mental health issues. And
well, that too. Like, how is someone going to know on a background check that if you have a mental health issue? If that's what they want to go after, they need to start flagging people's IDs when they do a background check. Hey, this person has mental health issues. That's the only way you're ever going to stop that.
Yes, but that also becomes like, at what mental health issue do you become somebody that can't own a gun or gets flagged? Because is it somebody that has depression, or is it somebody that's anxious and just had anxiety? Like, where do you draw that line? Yeah. That's where it gets a little iffy.
Problem is there's not enough mental health to know where that line is. Like, what's that snapping point for anybody to be like, okay, I'm done with this. Let's just go fucking murder people.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be now. It could be 15 years down the road. It could be. You can't tell that. Only that person can.
Yep, and that's where we're going to talk about red flag laws. But I mean, Hunter could just be like, "Oh, he wouldn't let me borrow his level, so I'm going to call the cops and tell them that my next door neighbor has an arsenal of guns, and I feel that he's a threat." Guess what? That red flag law kicks in, and guess who? They're going to come and take all my guns temporarily. Or maybe permanently.
I don't know. I've actually called the cops and told them that before, and they haven't been here. So I don't know if I'm.
It's probably because he supplied like half the police department.
Yeah, because I supplied the sergeant with a freaking Barrett. So he's staying away. But yeah, I mean,
like there's no background checks. Anybody that's ever fucking bought a gun legally has gone through a background check.
Yes, you cannot buy a gun from a dealer or store or whatever without passing background check.
Keith has run background checks on everyone in this room.
Yeah.
Yes, actually I have.
Yeah.
Yep. And all of you guys have passed.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, he keeps saying background checks. Okay. Apparently he's never bought a gun.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know that you do background checks to even buy one.
I think what they're getting at is the private sale. But again, okay, so that is only going if you made private sales illegal, or to where you have to have that person do a background check through a dealer. That isn't going to stop what they're trying to stop.
Nope.
Again, freaking the criminal, like the gang member, whatever, he's still going to buy it from somebody. They're not going to do any paperwork or background checks. They don't want that gun traced. There's still going to be that problem. It's just going to make it harder for us.
You would be better
buy
off
and sell
trying to
guns.
stop gun theft than
Yeah.
because those are the guns that get used in things like that. Is stolen guns. You know,
Mhm. And with Biden's stuff and what he's wanting to do, stolen guns during shipping have gone up. Why? Because they make it to where with UPS and FedEx and even DHL, you have to mark on the package that there's a firearm in there.
That's absurd.
That just says, hey, take me.
It's like
Yeah.
free advertisement.
So a lot of gun thefts have gone up in the shipping department because, people are seeing that. And it could be somebody that works for that carrier is like, oh, hey, look, this is a gun. It's going to get lost or stolen. And you're seeing a lot more of guns getting stolen because of the stuff that they're requiring. Don't fucking put that on there.
Yeah.
Put fragile
Yeah.
or explosive if dropped. Then it's not going to get stolen.
Well, and yeah, what is it even benefiting? Like,
Yeah.
how does it benefit to label it that way? There's no benefit to that at all.
No, there's not.
I mean, even if you go to the airport, you're not going to label, hey, this is a firearm.
Yeah.
Like, well, there's no point to that. Oh, I wonder what the problem is.
Another way for them to.
Free advertisement, people.
Yes. All right. Last clip that I pulled off of there.
Certain of their tools that they're using would be infringements upon the people's right to keep and bear arms, upon their constitutional rights, upon due
So you're
process,
saying
upon other things.
that registering is an infringement?
Yes,
Okay. Is voting a right?
it's a right for citizens, yes.
Do you have to do anything to do it?
Yes,
What do you have to do?
it depends on the state.
What do you have to do?
Sometimes you have to be at least 18 years old.
What do you have to do?
And
Keep
in some
going.
places you have to have a government-issued ID.
What do you have to? You have to
You have to be on the voter rolls.
register. You have to register. So you have to register to a right. Is that an infringement?
Does the right to voting say shall not be infringed?
Oh, so this is just a semantic argument now.
No, it's not.
You believe voting rights can be infringed because it doesn't say specifically
Is it in-
shall not be infringed.
Is it an infringement upon a 17-year-old's right to vote since they don't have that right to vote?
No.
Oh, it's not an infringement on them?
No.
The most ridiculous argument I've heard yet.
Yeah.
You have to register to vote to prove you're the person you're voting for or as.
Correct.
That has nothing to do with registering your guns.
Well, I mean, it takes less to vote than to buy a gun already. The background check it is more than registration to vote.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they don't even
What do you have
verify
to
if
do?
you're-
Register. Oh. So you should register your guns because you have to register to vote.
That's dumb.
That's a stupid argument.
Well, I'm registered to vote, so I'll register to buy guns.
Yeah.
That's fine. My
Yeah.
concealed carry already did that technically.
Right.
I registered to buy guns. I don't. It saved me some time on my background check.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know, if you have a concealed carry license in the state that allows it, when you go buy a gun, you don't have to have a background check done because you go through a more thorough one with your
Yeah.
license and
Fingerprinting and everything.
Yes. So at that point, they're like, okay, you don't have to do the background check. You still have to fill out the form 4473. Just don't have to do background check.
Kind of like the TSA speed
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Similar.
Yeah, that was
That was hard to wash.
it was. There was another one where he went into something ridiculous. I don't want to put up here, but was comparing like drag queen rights and I don't know, some
Like, it'd be really hard for me not to take my belt off and just smack him across the face. And be like, fucking shut up and listen.
Yeah, that last clip, I was like, oh god, come on, like you have to register to vote.
Do you have to, do you have to
Okay.
register to fucking speak then?
Oh, because it doesn't say shall not be infringed.
What about your rights to speech? Do you need to register to speak now?
I don't think we have free
I would-
speech because we get
It's because you didn't register.
I would like to see him sit down with like
Collier Noir.
Yeah.
not even that, like no, just a real person from one of these countries that's come here from, a place where they actually saw communism come in and take their guns and they lost their land or livelihood over it. Debate that person Tell them why they shouldn't own a gun
These people,
because they're not even in the country they fucking grew up in because of it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's where we could be at, very easily. We're not that far off from, I'm well past the point that thinking the government has our best interest at heart.
they haven't had it for years.
No.
What?
I mean, we send
Wait.
$100 billion to Ukraine, but they won't help the people in Palestine and Ohio.
Biden said he looks out for me.
Well, he does.
Like he
Not in a good way, but he
looks
does.
out for my leg hair. Man, I thought Biden was
Like these
had
people,
my best interests.
I
at
wish
heart.
these people would go over to Ukraine right now.
I don't think we should be giving any money to Ukraine.
I don't either.
At this point. Like, yeah, help them out a little bit, but at this point, it's your war.
I almost feel like we're on the verge of World War III with what's
we
going on.
100% are.
China now going after Taiwan.
Well, that drone
Yep.
that got knocked out of the air by Russia over the Black Sea. And then apparently they sent a Russian warship out to try and recover our drone because they
Yep.
wanted to see our technology. It's like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yep. I know when I was over there, we went over there, and I can't remember what sea we were in, but Russia followed us everywhere we went. And I was just like, this is kind of weird. We're just going to ports, and you're following us everywhere we go. They're always within eye distance. And I was like, what in the world? This is nuts.
Yeah.
It's funny. Russia's always like on the bad side. Did you ever watch? Have you watched the new season of Jack Ryan with
No, I know who you're
on
talking
Amazon?
about.
Yeah. So the newest season is a issue with Russia. Always Russia. It's always Russia.
Never been portrayed as the bad guy in film for a long time. And I don't think they're as bad as we make them out to be. It's a political game.
Yeah.
I think that if we gave them their own sovereignty and left them the fuck alone, that everything would probably be all right. And I don't think we have any business being involved in Ukraine at all. They're not a part of NATO. And also, you can see the provocation that we did. We agreed, hey, we will quit putting NATO countries that border you. Like, we won't invite anyone that borders. And then we just keep doing it anyways. I mean, imagine Putin put it really well. He goes, okay, so if I build a military base in Canada and Mexico, you guys are going to be cool with that? Clearly not.
Yeah.
We're doing that to them. And they're the small guy. You know what I mean? Like, they have no way they could beat us, let alone if we keep building bases around them. Like, it's absurd. We denied them the right to join NATO, too. They wanted to join NATO when he first came into office. Like,
Yep.
we would have never had a problem with Russia again, period.
Till they come
That's
over to
funny.
Canada because they don't have any guns anymore, so they can just come through and they'll try to take us from the top.
Yeah.
I was listening. I don't remember what I was listening. I think it was Speak to the Truth. I don't know if you've ever heard of that podcast.
Mm-mm.
It's really good. You should listen to it. But he was talking about how he could see someone trying to come through Canada for that reason, and then us trying to go through Mexico and just take over the cartel completely, and we all just become one big fucking like nation. I was like, that is a scary thought.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're on the verge of World War III. It's gonna happen, and we're all gonna get sucked into it some way. I was like, it's scary.
Well, but besides the sheer amount of guns we have that would probably deter most standing armies from coming here, from what I've read recently, food alone, Russia and China couldn't ever attack our mainland. One, they can't get it here fast enough, and two, they don't have enough without us.
Yeah.
China is on the verge of killing themselves if we go to war with them and we shut them off on food, period. Like, they can't sustain themselves
Yeah.
at all without us. So it's weird that we're even in this position. Like, why can't we solve that politically? Like, I mean, it's a pretty easy conversation. Hey, you keep fucking around, we're going to quit giving you food.
Yeah. And I almost wonder why they're going after Taiwan, because I know they got the chip factory down there. You think that's their reason? Like, oh, we now own all the chips to everything you have. Give us
Probably.
food, or
I
you
think
don't get
originally,
shit from
but
us.
I've heard that's null and void now too, because they agreed to build 4 different chip
Yeah.
companies here, and it's the next generation from what Taiwan's doing. So,
Yeah.
and the main company in Taiwan that produces those chips is building 2. We agreed to let them build 2 of those factories here, so they still have the profits, but it keeps it from being taken over by China.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Hunter, you're sitting over there nice and quiet. What's your opinion on anything?
I don't know. This whiskey's pretty damn good.
Yeah. It
I
is.
know. I was listening to a podcast. It was Joe Rogan podcast. Some guy was saying that China's got maybe 10 years left to hold the power that they do because their entire economy is based off of export. They don't import anything, and so they will eventually get to the point where, as other countries can start producing and processing the things that they're exporting, that will kill their economy. And since they're not importing anything, they have nothing to distribute to their own people. So it's pretty much a ticking time bomb for them.
Yep.
As far as goods go, yeah. As far as food goes, though, they're the world's largest
Food,
importer of
goods,
food.
everything. Because everything that they do right now is 1,000%, exports. So the fact that they have no ability to import anything and stimulate their economy through importing just stuff for their people is gonna, I don't know. The guy that was on Joe Rogan estimated that they have 10 years max before their economy collapses. Can't remember his name. Not helping you out, but all right.
Yeah, I think that's wrong on the food side, though. They're the world's largest importer of food, but that doesn't help them economically at all.
Yeah, that, and I know when I was doing my master class, they were talking about like how technologies help societies and how China revamped from like the 50s and 60s and why they became such a powerhouse. And literally all they were doing is going around to all these other countries and like copying how they were doing it. And they didn't have the regulations like we do now.
They
like,
still don't.
They
yeah.
still don't. Yeah, like EPA. Like we can't do a lot of things because of EPA. They don't have it, so they just do whatever the fuck they want, and they're really hurting. And like a lot of the reason California has smog issues is because of China coming across the sea. So really,
well, their theory on copyright laws is totally like they don't have like intellectual property or anything like that.
Yep.
Their theory is basically the government looks at it as we tax every business the same, right?
Yeah.
So if you can put another company out of business and be more profitable, do it because we get a chunk of that business. We don't care who goes out of business, and whoever can win will survive. And then they look at it that same way as, go steal every other country's technology and make it here, and we get a cut of it.
Yep. And we don't have to follow patent laws or anything like that, and we'll make it for half the price. And then
labor laws or emissions laws or.
Yeah, but it was crazy watching that. Like, I can't remember. It was like, I think it was even on a YouTube video, and it was just interesting watching. I was like, man, that is crazy that everyone allowed that to happen. Like, they were having people come over here and steal how we do shit and go over there and make it and then try to turn around and say, why the fuck are we allowing that to happen?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't we make that like, oh, this is how we do it? Tell them like reverse how to do it and fuck them up even more. Like,
well, they just steal our shit too.
Yeah.
I mean, that hacking alone, like that's how they got their newest jet technology.
Yeah.
But they're also so far behind on spendings compared to us, even though they have a high population militarily, at least.
I just can't win on this camera angle with Hunter. Like that doesn't even help. There's just so much stuff in the way of your face. Plus, you're against a black wall with no light on you. Yeah, I tried.
I'm about probably 10 minutes past my curfew.
Oh, you're good. We're still going. All right. So one last thing we need to actually get to is another main topic of the week is that Biden's executive action that he just signed this last week here in California. It's not going to do anything like we've been talking about, but it has to do with background checks, and hopefully this won't go anywhere because with executive orders that don't get voted on.
What are they going to start doing next? Like, this is my DNA, so go back to like how you were made for a background check. Like, what the fuck?
So there's some bullet points here.
Yeah,
I'm going to put up here. So this was his executive order: keeping guns out of dangerous hands. I think they consider the law-abiding citizens dangerous hands because that's the only thing.
Yeah, because we
if
can
they
vote
become
on them.
tyrannical, definitely.
Yeah. So he directs the president's cabinet to increase the number of background checks by ensuring that all background checks required by law are conducted before firearm purchases, moving the U.S. as close to universal background checks as possible without additional legislation. Again, in order to purchase a gun, you have to have a background check. There's no other way around it. Like you
He must have forgot that with his Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
How funny is it going to be in like 10 years when they come out with the documentary that we find out that this whole Biden presidency was Weekend at Bernie's? And they were just, he wasn't even there for, they were just, he's a puppet being controlled.
Right. He's being run by the music. All right.
Well,
so,
I mean, I think that's pretty spot on. I mean, you literally saw where he was live once and he's like, I'll say whatever you want me to say, Nance. And like, that wasn't supposed to be fucking aired.
Yep. All right. The other thing, improve public awareness and increase appropriate use of extreme risk protection, red flag orders, and safe storage of firearms. Here's where I don't agree. Red flag laws, we're not going to be able to do much about that, but making me store my guns a certain way shouldn't be.
Nope.
Because I don't have kids. So we rarely have kids over. So I don't need to securely store my firearms. Whereas Chris, and soon to be you, and Hunter currently have to store yours different because you guys are having kids. And so...
Well, there's also a difference between an infant and a 6-year-old and then a 17-year-old.
I don't know. You might be surprised. Hunter's ninja kid over there might roll over and grab his gun. You never know.
No, but that is a solid point because right now I don't have my Glock next to my bed, but it's because he at this point
can't reach that.
He can't reach that, let alone would be able to open up the case to get into it, and he still puts his whole hand in his mouth until he gags, so he has no idea what he's doing. And so, like, yeah, when he gets older and there's a possibility he could get in there, I'm going to start. There will be extra security measures, but right now, as an infant, like, what's the point of making it harder for me to access in case there was an emergency and I needed to get my pistol out?
My plan,
there's, I don't know.
Yeah,
it just seems
them controlling how you store it is okay. Well, I need to use it in a self-defense situation. So then you got to be like, wait, hold on. I got to go to my safe, unlock it, grab my gun. I got to go somewhere else to get my ammo. It's
technically a freedom and it's an expense for people. I think that there should be harsh criminal action for, like, you should be responsible for the guns you own. And if they're used in a way like by a family member or someone else who had access to them because you didn't secure them properly, that should be on you. Now, I don't think that should include like home theft. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but and in that same thought process, what are you gonna do? Ask the axe murderer, hey, can you hold on a second so I can go get my gun out of one safe and then get the magazine with the bullets out of another safe so I can put it all together.
I agree there.
Protect
But there's
myself.
options too. Like my plan for my bedside gun once my child gets older is to get one of the quick release biometric readers that is a thumbprint, and just me and my wife will be on that thumbprint. That's it. And it'll be a loaded gun right by my bedside that it pops out in 1 second flat. But
yeah, I got mine right now. It's a safe, but it's got a lock where I could hit a 2-button. I could put a combination. It's got like 4 buttons. You can program it to that, or you can do like an RFID swipe. So you got like 4 different options you can use. And then inside of it, I got the gun. It's not got a magazine in it, but it's right there. Quick chamber. And then I also have a spare magazine.
Yeah.
And I can just grab and go if I have to.
Yep.
But I don't keep it all together just in case they do. And I also test to see, okay, does my son have the grip strength yet to even rack the
correct.
slide
And I think
back?
you do need to think about things differently. Like, I understand that seconds matter in self-defense, but keeping a round chambered it also matters because a toddler can pull a trigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends on, you got to think about that. You know what I mean? Even if you conceal carry, like, I would urge moms that purse carry, if you're not going to have it in a holster that a child can't pull it out of, I wouldn't keep it round chambered because you have to think about like, is it more likely that my child or finds it and injures themselves or someone else than me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at that point, it's not worth. You know what I mean? It's counterproductive, and it's going to be tailored to the individual. But I think it goes back to just making it responsible and having harsh laws against those that happens to.
Yeah.
But the hard part is, if you truly want protection in your home, the easiest thing is to grab a loaded gun and be ready to protect yourself. And so, there's that fine line there where...
Yeah, seconds matter for sure.
So, I don't know.
And it depends too on, your house setup, your security setup there. I mean, everything it's very individualistic.
Yeah.
And then, but Canada went real harsh like that too. You have to have your gun locked up. You have to, from last I heard, if you had a handgun, it can never be used in self-defense, period. You can't use it at all. You'll be charged as a criminal just for defending yourself with it. It has to be in a locked safe in your house at all times. And the only time you can take it out is if you contact the police department and let them know, hey, I want to take it to this range. I'm going to drive this route. It's going to take me this amount of time. I'm only going to be at the range for 2 hours. It'll be back within 3 hours. And if it's found anywhere outside of that, you lose your gun rights, all of them. Like,
so why don't we do that here?
You could never use it. Like that's pointless.
That's what they want. That's the whole point, is they don't want you to be able to use them.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I have to wake up 30 minutes earlier than my wife so I can go disable the tripwire on my Claymore that I have on the stairs. But it's just something that you got to do. You want to keep the family safe, great, but I got to wake up earlier than her and make sure that thing's not going to trip off and blow her legs out. So
we should tell people where you are now, because you're in timeout since you've missed so many podcasts. This is your timeout. This is you got to work your way back into the table. Although
it's going to take a long time. I had to sign an NDA. I had to sign a whole new contract with Keith, even just to get on the last one. And then I missed several more after that. So
it's over there in the dark with the red light. He's got the pictures of Daenerys over there.
It's not easy to get on this podcast. I think the most awkward part is having to send Keith those nudes.
Yeah. And it's a requirement, which, Keith, come on, man.
Wait, you guys have to do that?
I'll send them to you, but don't require me. Jesus, bro.
Hey.
Yeah, it was a list of angles and shots, and it got weird.
Yeah, it did get weird. He wanted a watch in one of them. It was so crazy.
I'll make sure it's going to be all right. Turn out okay.
And sorry to the viewers, but I'm going to have to take my usual potty break right now.
Oh, boy.
He just goes to the corner.
Right. Anyway, all right. So the other one that's part of this is something that we've already talked about, is addressing the loss or theft of firearms during shipping. And the ATF data indicates, because it's always correct, never lies, over 250% increase in the number of firearms reported lost as stolen during shipment between FFL dealers, roughly from 1,700 in 2018 to more than 6,100 in 2022. Well, here's the problem, Joe Biden, is because you make us mark firearm on there.
And you're the dumbasses that ship full-fledged M16s to people from your military surplus. Do your fucking inventory and registry then.
Here's what sucks. So he is directing the Secretary of Transportation, which is Buttigieg, who is anti-gun and has said that he wants to come and take our guns. He is directing him to work with the Department of Justice to work to reduce the loss of firearms or theft of firearms during shipment.
That makes me never want to use my CNR.
Because honestly, now I get, when I order guns from my suppliers, it has my company name on there, which is obviously, you would look at it, Boomstick Tactical.
Why don't they just ship this shit like porn in black bags?
Yeah, like unmarked packages would be nice.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can just, like, even though I'm a home-based FFL, they just don't drop it at my door and leave. Like, I actually have to be here, sign for it.
I think signature required would be better than putting anything on it.
Yeah, like you have to have an adult signature. So a lot of times they have to scan my ID and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
which that seems appropriate.
Yep.
there are some times when, and it seems like it happens with pawn shops, they just send it USPS, which you're not supposed to send it through the postal service, and they'll just, because they don't know what's in it, and they'll not mark it signature only. I'll come home sometimes and not knowing a gun's being shipped to me, and there'll be a package that happens to have a handgun or something in there.
That's terrifying because I don't know if most people realize this, but as an FFL, like when I order a gun, I do contact you out of courtesy, but if I didn't know you, I wouldn't have the option to not everybody knows their FFL dealer personally.
Yep.
They can't text Keith at 9 at night saying, hey, look what I just ordered. It's going to show up at your door. Be ready for it. You know what I mean? Because if I get on most sites, you pop up. You know what I mean? Most major gun sites, your FFL pops up as an option to ship it to you, and then you have no idea it's coming to you. Unless the shipper contacts you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't know when to expect that. So if the pawn shop sends it USPS, there's no estimated date. There's no tracking information. Like,
Yeah.
what if you were out of town for a week? Someone's gun's going to sit on your door for a week.
Exactly. That doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. So like when Kat's dad had all those guns shipped to me to transfer, not only did that pawn shop ship them all together in one box, and it was just and it was just sitting on my front porch. They shipped there was a revolver and another gun loaded.
Yeah.
And they were it's not like they were in cases or saran wrap. They were just
a
floating
revolver
loaded.
Holy shit, is that
by
unsafe?
somebody that has an FFL and should know better. Literally threw these guns together in one box, and where they're banging around and could be doing all
That's
this
terrifying. If you were the person just handling those.
Yeah, like I didn't realize that. Usually I look at the gun and take the information off, and then I'm like, holy, wait a minute. I saw something in the cylinder, and I'm like, oh, whoa. And then I checked the other gun, and one of the Ruger LCPs had a magazine. There wasn't one in the chamber, but the magazine was
This
loaded.
goes back to, and I do this, even if someone clears a gun, clear the gun yourself every time you pick, because all it takes is that
the number
one time.
rule, act like the gun is loaded at all times.
Yeah.
Then check, clear, and make you safe.
Yes,
because most guns that I handle, I want to know how it feels dry firing. I'm curious about the trigger and stuff. Like that is fucking terrifying that it would come in the mail that way.
Yes, and it only happens from pawn shops. Surprisingly,
it's probably because they don't really know.
You would have to, because they're.
You would think, but a lot of those guys just want to hurry up and make the money.
I would put money on it that whoever owns the FFL and is responsible for it's probably an employee or a.
Yeah.
But that employee is supposed to go through training and all this stuff.
Supposed
Honestly,
to,
if I can do this out of my house from the side and know all this shit, you that's doing it for a business should know more than me and how to do it properly.
Pawn shops do a lot of gun business.
They do.
They also do a lot of sketchy shit too.
True.
So.
Well, yeah. Turns out.
It's all sketchy shit.
Yeah.
Which, on to this next bullet point that he has, is holding the gun industry accountable. Provide the public and policymakers with more information regarding FFL dealers who are violating the law. Gun dealers violating federal law put us all at risk by increasing the likelihood of firearms to fall in dangerous hands.
How would you even easily do that as an FFL?
So what I think what they're most of the time, if you have an FFL, you're not going to break the law. You're going to follow the law. However, you get inspected, and it seems like if you have a physical gun store, brick and mortar, you get inspected by the ATF a lot more. And they're going to find mistakes. Like, nobody's perfect. The ATF isn't perfect, or the FBI, because there are so many backgrounds checks that come back as denied by mistake.
I've been denied several times.
Oh, but they make you go through all these hoops and everything, and they don't get in trouble. But if an FFL accidentally makes a mistake and put a number where it wasn't supposed to or something, they can technically be violating the law. And under this, if you make so many mistakes or do something, they're going to pull your license and your SOL. So they basically want to get rid of FFL dealers.
Yeah.
So, because otherwise, nobody's getting an FFL for the most part
for themselves
to break the law
Yeah.
or buy guns to give away for the black market. Because if you have an
that's
FFL,
a surefire way to get caught
Yeah.
eventually.
because if you're ordering from dealers, even if you don't log it in your logbook, there's a way for them to track. Oh, well, Lipsy sent you this gun. Why isn't it?
They'll
in your
catch it
logbook?
on. They'll catch it on an FFL that sent you stuff.
Yes. So I mean, being an FFL, you need to follow the law and do everything's right. You know, I think I had my.
I'm sure there's people that attempt it, but it's so few and far
Yes.
between. It's
So
it's not what's causing these major problems. It's not going to stop a school shooting. And that's why I do agree that there should be harsh punishment just for those who don't. I think that parents that own guns are probably the biggest problem that don't take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it should be hard for them to go and own a gun, but I think that the responsibility of owning it should be more than buying a guitar. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just throw it in your closet and never think about it again. You know what I mean? Or the people that I know tons of people that oh yeah, I have this. It was my grandpa's. I got it when my grandma passed, and they not a gun person. Don't, you know what I mean? Like you need to take it seriously or don't do it.
So what does this mean? They want to use the DoD's acquisition of firearms to further firearm and public safety practices. The Department of Defense buys a large number of firearms and other weapons to protect and serve our country. The president is directing the Secretary of Defense to develop and implement principles to further firearm and public safety practices through DoD acquisition of firearms consistent with applicable law.
If they mean using it for firearms training offered to the public, great. I'd be fine with that.
Yep. Here's my other thing though, but was he the dumb fuck that left how much money and billions of dollars overseas for someone just to come in and take?
Or classified documents in his garage.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Catch shooters.
Let's talk about things that should be secured.
Yeah.
But they were in my Corvette in my garage.
Yeah.
Help catch shooters by accelerating federal law enforcement's reporting of ballistic data. Accelerate, intensify implementation of Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Oh my God, we've talked about that. Fuck that act.
It sounded like that thing Jon Stewart brought up too, with the etching or registering of every bullet.
Yeah.
That
kind of like
that goes back to the Biden administration, Obama administration, which Biden was a part of. I don't know if you remember, but Obama realized he couldn't regulate guns, and he just went after ammo. We had that huge ammo crisis in the Obama era, and that's not the answer either. That should be. I think we need more laws to protect ammo rights. After seeing that,
yeah. So, and here's where they're getting into some other stuff: is improve federal support for gun violence survivors, victims, and survivors' families, first responders to gun violence, and communities affected by gun violence. So really in that whole segment, what they want to get to is being able to sue gun manufacturers.
That's completely wrong.
Dumb.
Yes. Just because, say Hunter over there gets super mad and goes and kills a bunch of people at the next golf tournament because he shoots under, what he says,
par,
using his Glock 17. All those families can sue Glock because Hunter used a Glock to go kill all those people.
So if that's the case, then I should be able to sue, let's say, Jack Daniels then if I get a DUI and kill people. Mm-hmm. They should be able to go after the alcohol manufacturers that I drink.
Or the car manufacturer.
Yeah.
Well, how about the fact that lady that was 900 years old who hit his head on driving in the wrong lane? Should I be able to sue all old people who are driving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason they want to do that is to make them go out of business.
Yeah.
Because you can only survive so many lawsuits before you're going to go out of business.
Correct.
No matter how big of a company you are.
Daniel Defense got sued over, I can't remember the city, but it was a school shooting where the kid used a Daniel Defense rifle. And they got sued saying that the marketing is what made him do it, their commercial that they have out.
Another thing in there within some of those bullet points is marketing guns to kids, which they don't.
No, it wasn't
Marketed to
marketed
kids.
to kids. It was just marketed. Period.
Yeah. So that's another, like, you never. You
Well,
don't.
where do you stop with that? I mean, how many kids play Call of Duty?
That's what
Yeah.
I was saying earlier. Like Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure it's rated M for mature.
That made me real nervous. I let the dogs in, and Max just walked back there where all the cameras.
He's doing it
There
again.
he is. Oh, that's making me so nervous. He was starting to whine, and I know the microphone's kind of pick it up, so I'm like, bring him in real quick.
Aye.
Here he
Because
is.
Marie's not here; she's out of town. Yeah, that's
Don't
nice.
eat the
This
mic.
is Hazel. What's up, guys? All right. We should probably get pretty close to wrapping this up because we are over an hour, and the dogs obviously want
All right,
attention.
down.
So, yes, more stuff, different week. That's
Well,
what it
it's
comes
not
down to.
same shit, different day.
Yes, we may need to work on our cussing during the podcast because YouTube is cracking down on that foul language. So,
Thank God they
Oh.
at least revoked that you can't take a magazine out of a gun and put it back in. I don't know if you saw that they took that back.
Did they?
Yeah.
You can do that.
is it
yeah.
any magazine, or what about the 30
Well, it's because
round magazine?
didn't like a bunch.
I don't
of
know about what they consider a high capacity. I think they're probably still against that. But it was if you modified a gun in any way, if you put a suppressor on a gun, took a suppressor off of a gun, if you took a magazine out of a gun and didn't even put it back in, they considered that modifying it. And a bunch of gun tubers got together and sat down with a high up from YouTube, and they're like, "Yeah, that is stupid," and took it back. So
Literally anybody can unscrew a suppressor.
correct.
that-
It's not modifying it.
Right.
That's how it works. It's just a functionality of the gun.
And that one video I had, the M Masterpiece Arms Defender, it's basically a Mac 11 clone. In that video, it got taken down right when everybody's videos were getting taken down because of that. And it was because I didn't have a magazine in that video. So it wasn't because I was doing anything with the magazine. What I gathered it is I removed the fake suppressor.
Yep.
And I said, I'm like, this is a fake suppressor. It doesn't do anything to suppress the sound, blah, blah, blah. And I took it off, unscrewed it. And then later on, I screwed it back on. That's what got my video deleted.
Is it back up?
It is back up. So what happens is the AI
Yeah.
sees that somehow and flags it and deletes it. I can fight that, but then immediately got rejected by AI because AI is like, oh no, we were right. Well, then I found a way after I re-uploaded that video with everything blurred out. I found a way to actually have a human look at it in a dispute. Never heard back from anybody, but all of a sudden, oh, that video's back up. They don't tell you that they're putting it back up or they were wrong.
Yeah.
It just goes back up. And when I was trying to figure it out, they don't say, it says it violates our guidelines, but they never give you a specific reason. So it's like, luckily, because a lot of people were getting videos taken down.
Well, what's crazy to me too is there's no free conservative alternative to most of this stuff. You know what I mean?
No. There's Rumble, but Rumble is not very.
Correct. It's so
Yeah.
small. Yeah. Like
And it's
what is there,
nothing like-
Parler instead of like Facebook, but
Yeah.
it's such a small population. It doesn't take off, like these mainstream things. And if it did, it would be bought by a liberal fucking company. And then
Yeah.
Take it
YouTube
right
would
back
find
down.
a way to buy
it
it.
would be the same thing over and over again.
Because honestly, if you own Rumble and say YouTube comes to you and like, we're going to buy you out for $1 billion. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
take $1 billion. Like, I know I started this
I'm gonna
to
buy
be
an island
against
next
you,
to
but
Tom
I
from
would
MySpace.
rather
Do that, and then I'm gonna go make another one called Tumblr.
Yeah.
And,
And what
then after
sucks,
they buy that one, I'm gonna go make another one Tumblr. Just
like
go through the
nobody's
app.
going to have a platform like YouTube just because it is so user friendly and you can do everything. Whereas if you search for a video in Rumble, you have to type it in right. Otherwise, it doesn't give you the search options like it
Which
is
can be
now.
improved over time, but
It
takes
will.
forever to take off. And I don't know. We just need something that is more free than what we have.
Yeah,
Something other than Facebook.
anything.
Something
owned
not
by
owned by Meta.
Meta or AI or powered by AI.
Well, everything's about to be powered by AI.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Pretty soon you're not going to be having sex with your wife. AI is.
nope, that ain't gonna happen.
Anyway, well, Hunter,
What
are you still with us? Let me go back over here. Yep, he's back in timeout. So, all right. So, how many episodes do you think he's got to be in timeout before he can finally become part of the table again?
Give
Hmm.
him a foot and a half an episode to work his way back. To
we
the
may
table.
we may add a light over there, so then maybe we can kind of see you.
Wasn't I punished enough before you got this nice big table and I had to sit with the stupid ass little half table to the side that my knees were hitting the whole time? I think I paid my dues then.
I think you were fine. You were awfully comfortable.
You're
Leaning back.
You're a punk ass kid.
If you guys do use firearms in self-protection, like we've said before, very highly recommended to have a self-protection insurance. We interviewed Right to Bear. Harry over there kind of gave us all the perks of that. It's definitely something that you don't think about, but even if you use it in a justified shooting, you want to have that because you're going to still need a lawyer, and they also replace your gun for you, which is really cool. Most of those companies don't do that. So, and it really depends on the state. You may be in a state that questionable on self-defense shootings, so you want to be able to have somebody to call right after that shooting, because otherwise, like, something happens, who are you going to call? The police? They're not going to be on your side.
I was one, long story, I'm not going to get into because we're at the end of this, but I was once involved in what was considered a crime at the time, found innocent, but my gun was taken, until proven innocent. After being proven innocent, it took me 3 more years to get that gun back.
Jeez.
And the weird thing is I had a lawyer involved. He called repeatedly. They kept telling me, no, you can't get it yet. No, you can't get it yet. And then they called me out of the blue, not my lawyer, 3 years later. And were like, hey, you have about 5 days to come and get this gun or we're going to destroy it. And I'm like, well, I've been calling like every month for, 3 years, but hey, yeah, I'll come and get it. Like,
yeah, these will be pro 2A attorneys that are on your side. So if something ever happens, you have to use it in a self-defense situation. That's your first call, or probably next call after 911 is call them, because they will tell you exactly what to do, what to and what not to say. Because you don't want to say something when the police arrive and
you don't want to say
kind of screw yourself. Yeah, that's what they're going to tell you. They're going to direct you, which is good. And even if no charges are brought up against you, it's still expensive for court fees or anything. The family could sue you, and for something that their family member did wrong. And so, unless you have that lawyer to fight for you, and they will.
There's a very, very thin line between justified shooting and illegal activity.
So look into it. If you're a gun owner, Right to Bear, there is a discount code in the description below, Boomstick 10 for 10% off of your subscription. So they have different options that you can do and add on. So check it out. Definitely recommended.
Definitely worth the peace of mind.
Oh, I know. I know who you're gonna call.
Ghostbusters.
Hunter.
Nailed it.
All right, we're at that time, Chris.
Remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. And if you're listening on any other platform, such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, remember to follow. And with that, everyone, have a good one.